what did I just do there? Let's not do that button. Yep, I'm going to just not press with anything because I'm going to accidentally do something and completely mess something up, I'm sure. Oh, let's try that. Does that help? Oh, look at that.
Fancy. Like, is that your actual house?
No.
Oh.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Disney with the Ducks. Today you have me, Jodie B, and I am with one of my fantastic friends. She's been on the show before. I have run some miles with her before. She has a smile on her face 24/7, I think. I've never seen her without a smile on her face. Welcome to the show, Crystal. So glad to have you back.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
I cannot wait to talk to you because we have the opportunity to talk to a lot of guests who are Disney aficionados. They've been to lots of the parks and they've had lots of experiences. And normally they're telling us like they like this restaurant over this restaurant. But it's very rare in our Disney universe where somebody gets to have a brand new experience. And you got to have that. So I can't wait to hear about it. So before we get into the show, just want to remind everybody, come join us over on our Facebook page if you get a chance. We always kind of have some fun discussions over there. I'm getting ready to put a little poll up there pretty soon, ask some people to vote on some things. And if you have a chance, go out and give us a review if you can on your podcaster of choice. We'd love that. That helps other people find our show. And the more the merrier. We like people and we like good Disney people. So that all being said, one of my favorite Disney people happens to be on the show today. So thank you, Crystal, again for joining us. Now, you just got back from your very first
Disney cruise.
Disney cruise. So you got to sail on which of the beautiful ships were you on?
We sailed on the Disney Destiny.
The Disney Destiny, which is the newest of all the Disney fleet. Well, except for that one out in Singapore, but we're not going to talk about that one because that's kind of its own little unique thing. And
who can get there anyway?
I know. And then do you know that that's a ship that goes to nowhere? It just sails. It doesn't port anywhere. It's really interesting. I mean, if somebody wants to sponsor me and send me there to go on it, I would not say no, but
I'll go with you.
Okay, perfect. So we have two people. We just need to find the sponsor. Okay, so Crystal got to go on her very first Disney Cruise Line ship. So the Destiny sails not out of Port Canaveral, which is the one that people tend to think about when they think about Disney Cruise Line. So this ship actually sails out of Fort Lauderdale, which is a little bit different than Port Canaveral. So when did you actually set sail?
So we set sail on a Thursday. I think it was the 14th, May 14th. So just a few days ago, actually a week ago today. And we cruised out of Fort Lauderdale, which is a pretty easy drive for us. We're up in Palm Beach County. So that is the county right above the county where Fort Lauderdale is. So it took us, I think, about an hour to get to the port. So a pretty easy drive.
I cannot imagine just being able to drive an hour and be at a port and get on a cruise ship. That just seems so incredible to me. I'm kind of jealous. So that's awesome. So who all went on this trip with you?
This is sort of an interesting dynamic. The reason we got to go on this cruise is because my mom was actually having new floors put into her house and said, I got to get out of here. I can't be here while these workmen are in my house and ripping up my floors. I'll go crazy. What do you guys want to do? We'll take the kids somewhere. And so I said, let's look at the cruises. Let's just see. And she's like, I don't know. And I'm like, well, let's just look. And the dates that she needed were exactly the dates that the Disney Destiny was going out of Fort Lauderdale. So it just seemed meant to be.
I think it was. So it was you and your husband and your two kids, your mom, and who else was on the sailing?
And then her sister and their first cousin.
Okay. So 3 women who are about the same age of your mother's age, and then your family. correct?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
awesome. And how many staterooms did you guys all get a grand concierge stateroom for all of you, or did
I
you
wish.
find that? Yeah, talk about magic money. We were, sailing to Singapore. How did you all split up the rooms, and what type of rooms did everyone have?
So my mom had a deluxe family stateroom with the veranda. We
Hmm.
also had the deluxe family stateroom with a veranda. And then my cousin had an inside stateroom. So it was me, my husband, and our two children in one of the deluxe family staterooms with the veranda, and then my mother and her sister in the other one, and then my cousin all alone in her own inside stateroom.
And did you get an opportunity to see all three staterooms?
I actually didn't see my mom's stateroom. I sort of assumed it was just like ours, and I didn't go to look at it. I knocked on the door. We actually decorated her door for her.
Oh,
And she wasn't there when we did it. So we knocked on the door. I would have seen it, but we didn't get there. I did go to see my cousin's stateroom just because I was curious about what the inside stateroom would look like and the difference between that and our room.
and so before we get into all the sailing and all the specifics of all that, what did you think of the two differences? Because the main difference I think between the inside stateroom and a veranda stateroom is the bathroom setup. So the bathroom setup in the veranda has the split bathrooms where there's a shower and a sink in one bathroom and a toilet and a sink in the other. So it's really nice for families. If someone's in one space, someone else could be in the other space. But in the inside stateroom, there's not a split bathroom. Um, and obviously there's not a veranda. there's not a, there's not a door to open to be able to see outside. What did you think? Kind of any other big differences that you noticed?
Well, I almost wish I had seen her room before we saw our room. It's kind of like if you did a split stay and you went from the Grand Floridian to the All Star. Um, it seems it seems so much smaller, really, than it maybe would have seen if we saw it first. Um, I can say about the inside stateroom, it was really quiet. I don't know.
Yeah,
It just seemed really quiet and insulated, and like you'd get a really good night's sleep in there. But when I was trying to imagine my husband and my two young children staying in that room, and that was really kind of the main purpose that I went down there for, I'm like, could we do this if we wanted to or needed to? And the answer is yes, you could. You could. But for four people, it's a cruise stateroom. It's going to be small.
yeah,
It just we had in the larger room, we had almost a space where you could sit on the floor and like hang out. There was just an empty spot basically that gave a lot more room, and there's just not. It's very like when that bunk bed comes down from the ceiling at night. I would think that those two beds in the king bed almost touch each other because
yeah,
it seems that tight.
yeah,
And yes, the bathroom is one bathroom. It's not the split bathroom.
yeah,
So could a family of four do it? Sure. Um, would it be my first choice? Maybe not. I think
yeah.
I would prefer the room that I had. But
What
my mom also purchased my room, so when it's not your money, it's sometimes you can get accustomed to a little bit less when you're the person spending the money.
So thank you, Mom, for the
Thank you, mom.
that
Yeah.
was very nice. What theme did you have for your room? So that's really cool about this latest version of the Wish class ships, is the rooms are different themes. So do you know what theme, like what artwork and what theme you had?
We had Hercules, and we were very excited that it was Hercules, especially for my son. I had mentioned some of the themes we might have, and he was like, "Oh, I really hope it's not Raya and the Last Dragon." And I'm like, "Oh, well, we're gonna have a great time no matter what." He's like, "I really want Hercules." I'm like, "I know you do, but I have no control over which room we actually get." And we did. We got Hercules, so that was pretty magical and exciting.
That's awesome.
Um,
I never watched Roy on The Last Dragon, so I would get in that room and be like, I don't even know what's going on. So I need to add that to my list of movies to watch.
it's on
Uh,
Disney Plus.
I know. There's a lot of Disney Plus I need to get through. Okay, so your ship, I kind of jumped forward to the staterooms because I was talking about who you got to sail with. So this is your first time sailing, so your check-in and everything, you're a little bit first time cruisers, their check-in date and their date to book activities is the last. So they kind of go by a tier: pearl, platinum, gold, silver, and then first time cruisers. So how was all that process? Because there are two dates that you had. You had a date to check in for your activities and then a date to check in for your onboard check-in, which also included your attempt to get royal gathering. So how did that whole process go for you being a first timer?
So getting up in the middle of the night to do it was interesting. We had our alarm set for like 11:50, and my husband and I, we both got up because, of course, we were in charge of checking in all of the all quote unquote old ladies that were coming with us. So it was our job to get up in the middle of the night and get all of this situated. So we were able to, um, we had everything ready. We had all the documents. We had everything that we needed all sorted out. And then our first objective was to get the Royal Gathering reservation. And it is harder to get into than a Run Disney race. I was sweating, I think, because you would click on a time and it would give you the little spinny thing, and then nothing would happen. It would just bring you right back to the times, basically saying, you didn't get the time, choose another time. And then you would go back in and try to choose another time. And you're watching, as this happens, watching all the times go gray, that they're all disappearing and you're not getting any of them, even though you keep clicking the button. And so our first choice was to do the C day because that makes sense. It gives us something extra to do. And by the time I had clicked through so many times that there was only one selection left, I had no faith that I was actually going to get it. So I said, okay, I'm backtracking and I'm going to pick one of the days that were not at sea to see if some of those are open because they might be less desirable. Probably everybody was thinking what I was thinking. So we did that, and I got the last time that was available on that day. So it was not ideal. It was our castaway day that we ended up booking at 8:30 in the morning. But I was grateful that I got something. So
Yeah. So Royal Gathering, for those of you who don't know, it's a chance. It's a ticketed event at no cost to you, but you do have to register for it ahead of time. It's at the 30-day window, no matter what your status is with not with Run Disney. So I've got Run Disney on the mind with Disney Cruise Line. So it doesn't matter if you're Pearl or if you're a first timer. Everybody books Royal Gathering at the 30-day mark. So you are in it with everyone. And it's this ticketed event that you get to meet um, typically about 4 different princesses is who they have available. You don't know which princesses they are until that day, but it is kind of nice. You walk through, you get your pictures, you get to meet them. It's very organized, and it guarantees you the opportunity that you're going to meet all of them. So, okay,
right.
so I'm glad that the technology gods, smiled upon you and you were able to get that. Any other tips or anything from checking in? I'm trying to go like way back and
Um, we had to upload all of the passports, and that system was less than perfect, actually. Like it scans it and it supposedly gathers all the information from what it's scanning. And oftentimes it wasn't correct, and you're trying to go back in and fix it. So it actually took longer than we anticipated. I think the whole process to get us all registered and done probably took us about an hour.
yeah.
And it may
That's
be
what you want
because
to be
we're
doing
first
at midnight.
timers, but like after that, I'm like, how am I going to go to bed? I have all this adrenaline because I needed to do the royal gathering, and then I had all the frustration. I'm like, I got all kinds of adrenaline going here. I don't know how I'm going to get back to sleep, but eventually I did.
Yeah. Well, good. Sometimes you go to log in and nothing works and nothing happens. That's what happened with me with activities. I was getting the spinning wheel of death for a while. So it's just interesting, you know, technology at its finest. All right. So now, the cruise is booked. You've done your activity check-in. You've done your actual check in for the cruise, you got your boarding group. Now it's countdown time. So, Crystal, we know you, and you are a planner, and you like to look your best, and you like your kids to look your best. So, what were you planning, and how is your Amazon orders coming up through this trip?
Oh boy. So the Disney fashion is kind of a thing for me. When we go to the parks, we are dressed. My children probably more so than my husband and I, just because they're more fun to dress. But it's a lot of custom clothing, many one of a kind pieces. My daughter has more seamstresses than some people in Hollywood, I would imagine. It's over the top. It's probably not healthy, but it's part of the fun. It's what gets me excited to go. I'm planning all of the things as the orders come in. You're excited. It's like Christmas every day.
It is. It's fun. And then one of the other things that Disney Cruise Line is kind of famous for is, and you mentioned this a little bit earlier, is door decorations, door magnets. And you don't have to do this by any stretch of the imagination, but people really like to decorate their doors. It's kind of something that makes going up and down the hallways kind of fun. And it also makes it easier to find your stateroom. So did you either make or purchase any door magnets?
So the door magnets were not first priority on the list. A lot of the clothing got purchased first. And so it did get to a point where I'm like, okay, if I'm going to do this, I need to start figuring out what I'm going to do and get some stuff ordered. And those custom door magnets, they're not cheap.
No.
If you go on Etsy, like one magnet I found was like $35 for one. And I'm like, oh boy,
Yeah.
okay. I have to maybe budget somewhere because it wasn't the clothing. So we're gonna have to figure out where we can save a little bit. So I found someone who made it looks like the cast member buttons, that they wear with their name
Oh,
on
yeah.
it from wherever. And so it was like the Disney Cruise Line one. And then I just had the Gill family from Palm Beach Gardens, Florida put on there. And so that was like our splurge purchase. It was big and nice. And then I went to Amazon and got the cheap ones that were like $11 to sprinkle around the door.
That's fun.
Um, and then my mom, apparently, I didn't say anything to my mom about it. I didn't think she'd care. But I guess she was at the hairdresser or someplace because apparently she started telling everyone that would speak to her at any place she would go, the grocery store, the hair salon, wherever she went, she was telling people that she was going on a Disney cruise. And so she would come to me and say, did you know? And give me all of these things. And so most of the things I did know. But she said, do you know that people decorate their doors? And I said, I did know. She goes, well, are you decorating your door? I said, yeah, I got the stuff to decorate the door, especially for the kids. And she's like, well, I want my door decorated. I'm like, oh, you do? And this is like 3 days before we're leaving. I'm like,
Oh,
well, I got to be honest with you. Some of the magnets can be costly. Do you have to have custom magnets? And she's like, well, what do you have? And so I told her what I did. She's like, well, maybe one or two that are have my name or Debbie's name, or that's her sister. So now I'm not kidding. I'm running. I'm on my run because I do run Disney and I run. So I'm on the phone on my phone running with Etsy people going, hi, I leave on Thursday. Can you get this to me? And so many people were very well intentioned and said, I can try, but I can't guarantee it. So finally I had to break her heart and say, hey, listen, it's Amazon all the way. We're just getting some Amazon magnets for your door. And she's like, okay, I'm okay with that. So we took some time during the cruise and we went over and we decorated her door as like a little surprise.
did she love it?
She did love it, especially
Okay.
because the kids did it. I mean, it looks insane. Like none of the magnets made any sense in terms of their placement, but she knew her grandchildren did it, so she loved it.
It was a labor of love. So
That's
that's
right.
even more important. Okay. So finally, you've got your magnets, you've got all the outfits, you've got all the stuff, you have everything kind of thought through and packed. And now it's finally the day that you get to arrive. And unlike everybody else, where I say you have to be at the port the day before, like you cannot show up that day. Please, 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 please don't do that. You're like, I live an hour away. No big deal. So, what was your port arrival time for that Thursday?
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock. Okay, so great time. You didn't have to rush down there, but still um, early enough
I
that
sent
you.
my kids to school. I sent
Good
my
for
kids to
you.
school. I got a workout in. I did all the things, had them all ready. I took the dog to the dog hotel. And then we went and picked my kids up right before they would have eaten lunch at school. And we took off.
Okay, so you drive down there. So, what's parking like at the port there? How did that work for you guys?
So Port Everglades, that's what it's called, right? Port
Yeah.
Everglades. It's right next to the airport. So they have a park and ride facility. I guess that's actually kind of generous as to what it actually looks like. It's a tiki hut, but it's a facility where you can park for either the airport or the cruise port. And you park your car, you prepay for it, they're expecting you, and then they take you on a little bus, and it's a 3-minute ride over to the port. So
Awesome.
that's what we did. They have monkeys in the tiki hut where you park your car, like live, actual wild monkeys that are
Okay.
just hanging out. And it was great. It actually was really great. It's just called Park and Go or Park and Ride. And we had no trouble. We got there, they were expecting us. It was 2.5 seconds. They took our bags out of the car, they put them on this little bus. We got on the bus, and then when we had to get off at the very end, they showed up quickly, and it was super easy. So I would recommend it.
Good, good. Okay, so you get there, and now you're finally at the port. And this is when things start to get real. So tell me, and was this all of you, by the way, or was this just your family? Like, was your mom and your aunt and the cousin there too, or was it just your core group of four?
So because we had to go get our kids from school, the people in the car with me were just my immediate family. But my cousin actually lives very close to where I live and to where my children go to school. So our pickup time for the children was the same time as when my mom and my aunt were going to my cousin's house, and my cousin drove them all down there.
Okay.
So we basically left the area at the same time. And at some point, we were behind them on I-95. And so we just stayed. And so we arrived at the park and ride together.
Oh, that's great. That's so fun. All right. So now you go to the park and ride, you're on the shuttle, you get to the port. How was that process for you?
um, It was really easy. I mean, it was quite a few people, and it was busy. But you just showed your check-in pass, whatever that was, on your phone, and then they have you go into, I don't know if you call it a terminal, but it's sort of like a terminal, and it's all like the walls are painted with Disney. I mean, it seems very Disney when you
Mhm.
go there. It seems like, oh, this is what I'm familiar with. Even the people who I think are not Disney employees, they have their name tags that are the oval shape that are very similar. So that it sort of falls in line where, okay, now you're having a Disney experience now.
Okay.
And you go through a very long line, and then you have to go through, they check your passport, and there's some kind of security, I think, that I had to walk through. I almost can't remember now. But it was a long line of people. You do all of that, and then they basically say, go take your picture over here because you're done and you're ready to get on this boat. So we all took our pictures, where they give you the sign that says the date and the ship you're sailing, and there's a big cruise ship in the background, and we've all got our outfits on. And so then we felt like, okay, this is it.
And then you get to walk onto the ship. And so I had talked to you about this and said, get ready to record. They're going to ask your family name. So were you prepared for that? Did you?
I actually didn't record it, because it almost came too quickly, where I wasn't, like, all of a sudden I turned around, and like we were in the, I don't know if you'd call it a foyer or whatever, like right before when they announce your name.
Mhm.
And then I was so focused on asking my children, what do you want them to say? Because we had such a odd configuration of people. Not everyone had the same last name. So we're actually dealing with three last names. And so, what are we calling ourselves? So, we considered just saying that, like, my children's names are Camilla and Zachary. So, we're like, should we just say it's Camilla and Zachary's family? Or how do we want to do it? And so, it ended up being that it was my immediate family that went, we used our own last name. And then the three old ladies. They went together. They used my mom's last name. I guess it was two against one, so they just used that one. So we had two different announcements for our family.
Awesome. And then you got to walk into the atrium and now you're on the ship. So what was that experience like for you? Was it what you had anticipated?
I I really did try to go into a lot of this blind. I listened to more things about the ship than I watched about the ship. And at one point I started to put on a YouTube video about it. And I'm like, you know what? I don't think I want to see it. I think I want to wait because like you said in the beginning, as a Disney person, I mean, we go all the time. My kids are almost sick of Disney because they go so much. I mean, you don't get very many first time experiences. So I really wanted to allow myself to have that, oh, wow, I've never seen this before. So I guess it was sort of what I expected. I mean, I expected it to be a large room that was grand. Um, but I guess I didn't expect the stage that was there.
Hmm.
I think I expected more like a ballroom. So it wasn't quite what I had thought it might be, but it was lovely. I mean, the chandelier was really like, that was kind of wild. And yeah, it was really neat. It was really neat.
Yeah, the stage is new to the Wish class ships. So if you ever sail any of the classic ships, it's not on those ships. So the Wish, the Treasure, and the Destiny have that, but the other four ships do not. So that whole part is brand new. So you get on the ship, you see it all, and you're kind of taking it all in, and then what do you go do?
We eat because now everybody's like, I'm hungry. We've been waiting. And where's the buffet? And so we went to go find food. And then, of course, the obvious thing is we have no idea where anything is. We have not, like, we're just like walking around aimlessly going, what floor? What's the name of the restaurant? Where do we go? Wait, do we go to our own room first? So I actually think we did. I think we ran to our own rooms just to see it for a second
Oh,
and
they were
then
open.
went for food. I think so. I
Oh,
think
that's
so.
early.
They told us that they would be open.
Wow.
So we did that because not everybody surrendered all of their items. So they just wanted to like leave them. And so we just took a quick tour and went, ooh, wow, look at the balcony. Okay, let's go eat. And so we attempted to go to Marceline Market, which I guess is the buffet.
Hmm.
And we found ourselves not in Marceline Market. It's the same floor, I think, but it's now I can't remember what it's called, but it has little stations of food.
Oh, so like Daisy's, like the cantina, did it
Yes,
have the
yes,
barbecue and then like
yes,
like
yes,
station burgers? Okay. It's
yes.
called Festival of Flavors.
Festival of Flavors. Yep, that's it. So we found ourselves there, and then we're all kind of looking around, going, "I don't think this is the buffet. Do we want to find the buffet?" But anyways, we stuck with that, and we all sort of went to different stations and found what we wanted, and then we sat on the deck while we ate and just hung out. The interesting part that we experienced during this, which was sort of like a theme throughout the ship, was the allergies. So my children don't eat gluten or dairy. And so when you're going to these stations, they want to talk with you about the allergy and then they plan whatever it's going to be and then they make you something separate, which is fabulous. However, it adds a lot of time.
Mhm.
So everybody else had basically eaten, and my two kids are just sitting there going, "Where's my food? Mommy, I'm hungry." So I appreciate so much the attention to detail, but we just sort of hadn't really considered the additional time it would take in order to get their meals prepared. So we kind of by the time we got off the boat, we had it, down to a science as to how to time everything and what to do. But the first day we were kind of like, oh, okay, so we didn't really know how that was going to work. But
Did you
I will
ever eat
say
at
it
Marceline
was,
Market? Just out of curiosity, did you ever eat at the
oh yeah,
buffet?
oh yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
Was that process any, because I can kind of see Festival of Flavors because it's kind of a, I don't want to call it a snack station because it's more than that, but it's not the full inside buffet. It's, I don't know, more of a, not grab and go. I'm not doing a very good job explaining it,
It's
but
sort of like a Chipotle kind of a
yeah,
situation.
yeah. So were they any better or faster at Marceline able to prepare or have food ready for you, or did you have the same experience at both locations?
So it was similar, and we mostly did breakfast at Marceline Market. So if I was just ordering something right when I walked in, it was similar where they would talk to me and then they would go and make the food separate. But what the wait staff at the dinners started to help me do was they said, just order it now. So every night at dinner, I would order everything for the next day. So then when I would get to Marceline Market, I basically just said, hey, go. And it would only take them about 10, like they already had the order. So it would just take them 10 minutes and then everything was ready. So as my husband and I are kind of gathering whatever we're going to eat from the regular buffet, they're cooking the kids' food, and then it was ready pretty quickly
Okay.
once we got there because they already
Okay.
had everything ready.
So first day, little bumpy with that process, but then got better as the cruise went on.
Yes.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. All right. So you eat, the kids finally eat. I'm sure they were just ravenous at that point in time. I probably would have been like, where's my food? And then what did you do after that?
So then after that, we went to the kids club, I think, to check it out. Because that's the only day the adults can be in there in the kids club. So we went down there and we're trying to do all the things and get registered. And it is a mad house. Like this is like the hottest ticket in the place. Everybody wanted to be in this place. And so there is a line of people and they want to scan your magic band and make sure all we registered them when during our midnight affair where we had to do all the royal gathering and all that. We did some sort of registration for the kids club, basically saying they were allowed to go and who was allowed to pick them up and the whole thing. So we did that. And so, but when we got there, after we waited in line, it was our turn. Then they wanted to scan the magic bands, and we hadn't done something, I guess, with the magic bands correctly, activation or something. We're like, they're active. We go to Disney World all the time. They're active. They're like, no, you were supposed to do something else. Who knows? Well, of course, the person that was working with us doesn't have the clearance to do the magic bands. And so it was quite a process. And so as we're doing that, I'm looking at my husband, kind of tapping my feet, going, they're gonna start the sail away show. Like I kind of want to go to the sail away show. And my husband's asking me to be patient. And I'm going, but they're never gonna do the sail away show. So I'd really like to do the sail away show. And so at some point I said to the lady, do you think we're going to make a sail away show? Because she could probably tell that I was getting impatient. And she's like, well, if you just want to leave the magic bands with me, you can go up. And so I look at my husband, I'm like, you can stay here if you want. And we're gonna go see the sail away show. So we're running. We're running to the sail away show because it's now at this point I'm getting a text from my mom going, Spider-Man's here. And I'm like, yeah, Zachary's not here to see Spider-Man. We got to get up there. So by the time we get up there, I guess we had just missed the beginning, which is the Spider-Man part. And then all of the other characters come out and do their whole thing. And we actually found a really good spot. I don't know how, but we found a really good spot to watch the show. And by the time it was over, my husband was walking up going, hey, I got everything fixed. So I was glad we went when we did because we would have missed it.
Would have missed it. Yeah.
And that was sort of another thing that we noticed is that throughout the cruise, it seemed like there were quite a few new people on the cruise that either were training or weren't able to tell us certain things. And so We got the sense that maybe there had been like a recent shift change, or I don't know how often they work. It's something crazy. Like they work 7 days a week for a certain amount and then they get a certain amount of time off. But we got the sense a few times that maybe some of the people that we were talking to were new. Lovely though. We had a lovely experience with the people. Everybody was very kind and wanted to be very helpful. Um, but after we went to the sail away show, we actually took the kids down to actually see the kids club at that point, so they could actually see if it's something that they were interested in and what they wanted to do. The facility is really nice. I mean, half the time I'm like, what do you do here? Like, what is this game? I don't understand half of what's going on in there, but my kids are like, yeah, this is cool. Yeah, we want to come back here and do this. I'm like, oh, okay, great. So they were on board, which could have gone either way. Could have gone either way.
Never know. You never know. All right. So you had early dining, right?
We did have early dining because I had the best travel agent that was able to call and get me early dining after however many days. So we were, I think I was more grateful for early dining when we actually got on the cruise than I had been, even though I was so excited, because we were tired most of these days. And I legitimately don't know that my children would have made it to the sit down dining had we not had early dining.
Yeah. Nobody's looking forward to a kid asleep in their plate of, spaghetti, or in your kid's case, free spaghetti. But yeah,
That's right.
nobody wants that. We want people to be able to enjoy their cruises. So I'm glad that it worked out for you. So I'm thinking, like, if you did sail away and kids club, it was pretty soon thereafter that it was time to go to your
Yes.
first training. So where did you go that first night? Do you remember which restaurant
So
you were
we
in?
had 1923 the first night.
And do you happen to remember if you're on the Roy side or the Walt side?
I
Doesn't
was on
matter.
the Roy side.
Okay. Yeah. And
Yeah.
how was that first night? How was your serving team, and how did this all go?
The serving team was really good. I'm just gonna look down at my notes for just a second to make
Yes,
sure I have
please.
all
I
of
know it's a
the
lot.
the
It's a lot to
things, because
remember.
it's we ate a lot of food and did a lot of things and all of that. Um, oh yeah, and we also did the drill before
Oh,
we went to dinner too.
yeah. It's my least
So
least favorite part about Disney Cruise, and I, I don't understand. It's the only cruise line that I know of that makes you still go physically in person. The only thing I can think the reason why is because they know there's a lot of kids and a lot of families, and they want to make sure that it's a physical, like, visual thing that they're showing everyone. A lot of other places, you like check in on your app and say that you watch the video and you're done. So,
oh,
were you
okay.
so it's one of the very few left that you actually have to physically go to the muster drill. And then notoriously, there's always a family who is late, and I
Late.
shoot them like laser eyes, like, you are delaying all of our fun because you are late. And so I have very little patience for people who do not have respect for other people's time. And so that
Okay.
always makes me, it always puts me in a little bit of a sour mood when we're delayed. So anyway,
Yes, we
hope
weren't
you're blessed.
delayed by much. We had people that were a couple minutes late, but it wasn't anything bad. Um, so yeah, so after we did all that, we went to the room, we unpacked, we got ready for 1923. We're on the Roy side. And so the food was fine. But this was probably the longest meal that we had. So we had it from start to finish. We were in the restaurant for 2 hours. And so um after this, we sort of had to like think about what's going on. And I think it was a couple of things. I think the allergy issue was part of it. Like same thing at lunch where they had to figure out what is going on, what are you going to eat, then we have to go make it. And then I felt like there's probably a learning curve at the outset every time they get a new bunch of people on the cruise, because you're learning all these people, it's all the things, it's a lot. And it's a lot of people. Like I was thinking about it, like a typical restaurant, everyone is not arriving and eating at the same time.
Mhm.
Logistically, that's pretty complicated to
Hmm.
have all these people enter the restaurant at the same time and then expect everybody to have drinks at the same time and everybody to get their food at the same time. Like that's it's a lot. So the 2 hour meal was a challenge for us just because my children don't want to sit at a meal for 2 hours.
Hmm.
And so we're like, oh boy, I don't know how this is going to work. But that is when, at the end of the night, they introduced us to, let's order your food ahead of time so that we know what to prepare. That way it's coming out quicker and all of that. So I was grateful for that. Um, the food, I had a filet and mashed potatoes, I think, and it was good. Yeah, it was good. It wasn't Ruth's Chris, but it was good. Um, yeah. So, and my kids, I think, had spaghetti. Talk about the gluten-free pasta. I think they had spaghetti that night, and yeah, it was just sort of a long night. But yeah, it was. It just we had to get into
The rhythm.
I don't even know what you call it, just this rhythm of, okay, this is what it's actually like. It's not just, I can walk into a restaurant. My whole family, we can, as long as the server's prompt, we can be in and out of there in like 30 minutes. Like, you can turn that table fast for us. We don't need all the things. But I also understand that some people are exactly the opposite. They've come and they want to dine. They want to sit there. They want to enjoy their cocktail, their appetizer, their salad, all the courses and not be rushed. So I think the servers kind of have to learn that too, like finding that balance also with who wants to sit here forever, who does not want to sit here forever, and how fast can the kitchen actually produce the food that we need to go out to all these tables. Um, so yeah, it was interesting. And then after that, I think we just walked around the grand, is it the grand hall, the main
Mhm.
area, because the restaurant's right there. I think we just kind of walked around a little bit to soak up the atmosphere, and that's when we went back to our room. My kids decorated our door at that point, and then took a bath and went to bed.
Okay. So you did not go to a show that night.
We did not go to a show that night because we would have missed it. That was what we were not realizing, like, oh, this meal is so long that we wouldn't have really been on time, I don't think.
Yeah. I mean, I normally tell people about an hour and a half for a meal. It sounds like yours was a little
It was
long.
exceptionally long the first night.
Yeah. But
Um,
they did improve on that. That got better.
that did get better. That got
Okay.
much better as we went on.
Okay.
I actually think my cousin and my aunt may have gone to that show though
Okay.
and said it was cute.
Good.
It was like the variety show,
Yeah.
whatever, the
I think it sees the
lots of
event.
characters and Disney music and all of that.
Good. Okay. So everybody has a good night's sleep. Um, Kids in bed. So they have the fold down beds. Did they love that? Was that
Yes.
exciting to them?
They loved the beds. We did ask our stateroom attendant, hey, can you get us the fancy sheets? And then at some point she came back, she's like, I can't get them for you tonight, but I can get them for you tomorrow night. I'm like, I'll take it. Let's do it.
Yay.
Um, and so of course my kids had a nice fight about who was gonna sleep on top and who was gonna sleep on the bottom. So that was good. They worked that out and we were ready for bed.
Yeah. That first day is exhausting, especially like you went to the gym and everything else. And I mean, that's a long day. So, all right. So the next day, you wake up and remind me what day two was. Was it a sea day or were you going to a port?
Nope. Day two was lookout day.
Okay. So you actually were lucky enough that your sailing went to both of Disney's private islands.
Yes.
That's a kind of unique sailing. There aren't too many of those. So you went to Lookout. I have not even been to Lookout yet. So you beat me to it on your first sailing. So you arrived there, tell me about this day. How did you handle it?
So this day we got up. That was our first meal at the Marceline Market. We had our food. We went down to I think it's Cafe Magara. So there's I think 3 different like fancy coffee places if you want the fancy coffee.
Mhm.
Cafe Megara, Cafe Merida, and then there's one other one that we never went to,
Cove,
Cove something.
Cove.
Yep. So we didn't get to that one. But we went to Cafe Megara, which is Meg from Hercules. That's the theme. And I got a green tea latte with oat milk because that's what I have every morning. And my kids had these like really yummy smoothies. They had smoothies there also. So those were a big hit. And then we went back to the room and got all of our stuff ready to go to Lookout. Um, and so oh, well, I'll backtrack because this plays into it for a second. We did not purchase the internet package. And all of us had a very rude awakening to how reliant we are on technology because all of a sudden you realize I need to meet this person and you can't because you can't call them and you can't text them unless you're using the app. The Disney Cruise Line, there is a messaging feature in the app, but I will be honest, it didn't always work.
Right. You
So
can
we
iMessage.
struggled.
You can iMessage people and you can WhatsApp people. So if you have the WhatsApp app, that works on the ship. And if everybody has an iPhone, you can use iMessages to one another. But I believe someone in your party had an Android.
Yeah, so my husband and my mom's cousin have Android phones.
Yep. So that
So like being able to just even message group text somebody and just say, "Hey, we're gonna meet you at the gangplank to walk off the ship at 9:30," and it wasn't working. And we would forget because we're so reliant on having the technology that all of a sudden we'd go, "Oh, where are they?"
Mhm.
And then we would like, do we go and knock on their door in the room? What is the best plan of action for this? So that was a little bit in a lot of ways, I loved having no internet. I loved not being accountable to an email, to a text message, to any of the things out in the world. Like to me, it was so refreshing to not constantly feel pressured to be looking at this stupid light up box. I liked that. But it was sometimes challenging with the coordinating of multiple people in multiple rooms to arrive at the same time at the same place. So
I
it
would
was
say,
like we were in the
yeah, a
old
good
days.
a good tip for that, I would say, um, is because people were on different platforms, is maybe load WhatsApp and use that as your platform for that. Just even if you never really ever use it again, use that for the sailing because you can. That is a system that does work and that works across Android and iPhones because for us, like our whole family just uses iPhone, so we can just text each other and all of our messages just go through quickly. But if you have different people on different platforms, that makes it a little more difficult. So, yeah, and I do agree. The Disney chat and their app it isn't always reliable. Messages sometimes don't go through, or they go through
Yes.
20 minutes later, and you're like, well,
Yes.
it doesn't help me at
Yes.
all. So it
Right.
is a challenge. And we never buy the internet. It's really, really, really refreshing. I agree to not be responsible for stuff. But sometimes in your situation, it's a tough, that's tough when you're trying to coordinate with multiple rooms, multiple people over multiple systems.
Yes, it was just something that we hadn't considered. So it was like, oh, okay, well, we're going to have to work this out. And so it's like, okay, this is our meeting point. We're going to meet here at this time, kind of a thing. And we would have to really, you'd have to plan it because you can't rely on the technology. So you have to tell them when you see them, I'm going to see you next at such and such a time at this location. It got a little glitchy when we were trying to get off to go to Lookout. We were kind of waiting and going, okay, how are we getting everybody? Because the chat isn't working as we're doing this. But it all worked out. We got off the ship and walked, which I know people have a hard time with that walk. I was expecting that to be some sort of death march. And to me, it wasn't bad.
I
Walking off
think
that
because
pier.
we're run Disney people. I think
Maybe.
that's why really being honest here. Like walking a half a mile to a corral start is not a big deal to any of us, and we're conditioned to that being normal. Perhaps other people that walk seems extensive. I don't know.
Mm,
That's the
yeah.
only thing I can come up with.
I guess I'm also like a Disney person too. Like I expect to walk. I expect a lot of people, and I expect to walk when I'm on some sort of Disney experience. So I kind of thought it was nice. There was some cloud cover, so it wasn't super duper hot at that point. So it was just kind of nice. The water was so pretty, and we were just excited to be there. So maybe it was just the novelty of it, but and we had also never been to Castaway, so once you see the difference in that, if you've been on other Disney cruises and you've only done Castaway, I could see how you'd go, oh, it's so long. But I don't know. It didn't bother me. But I was dressed and ready. Speaking of Run Disney, in my Run Disney gear, like I had my like I was running a real race. I'm in my costume. And people are probably looking at me like, why is this woman dressed like this? Why does she have on this bizarre skirt? And so thing I also didn't know is once you actually get to Lookout, like you're not actually at Lookout, you're at a place where they want to take you on a tram to get to Lookout. And so I just looked at these people and I looked at my family and go, I'm not riding this tram. I'm going to run this. And they're like, what? I'm like, well, I don't really know where I'm supposed to run anyway. And so if you have to run, if you have to get on this tram, I'll just run. And so all of a sudden I'm in this or this tram depot, I guess. And I'm like warming up and people are just looking at me like, this lady is dressed crazy. She's acting crazy. You need to watch out. She started drinking this morning. Like we don't know what this lady's gonna do. And so then this woman who's kind of opening and closing the doors to the tram is like, "Hey, what are you gonna do?" And I'm like, "I'm gonna run. That's okay, right?" And she's like, "Oh, do you know we have an unofficial 5K?" I said, "Really?" Because I'm the type of person you want to talk to about the unofficial 5K because I already made my own medal to run this unofficial 5K. And she's like, "What?" And I'm like, "Well, you have a medal for the other island and I want a medal for this island and I plan to run a 5K today." And she's like, "Okay, lady." She's like, if you want to start the unofficial 5K, here's where you start. And I'm like, "This is great. I love you. You're so awesome." So
I
I
had
waved
no
goodbye to my family as they took off on the tram. I went to my little starting line and I started running. Um, there were crabs like legitimately everywhere to the point where at one point I'm like, "Oh, am I going to get pinched by this crab?" I mean, they were everywhere, and some of them aren't making it because of this tram tour that they have to take you on to get from the initial onset of Lookout K to the actual activities in the beach area that are Lookout K. Like these poor little guys are getting destroyed. So I'm basically running this tram route, and she tells me once you get to the roundabout at the end, come back. And then when you get back, you're at like 2.8. So that is why they don't have a 5K, everybody who is a Run Disney person who wants to know why they don't have the 5K, because it's not ready. Like, unless you're starting from when you actually get off the ship and running that and back, it's not going to be a 5K. And you're also running a tram route, and they probably don't want a ton of people running while this tram is operating, while all these wild crabs are going nuts. So it was actually a pretty run, but I can understand why that is not official at this time. It's very obvious why that wouldn't work. And by the time I got back to my starting line, and I really was only at 2.8, then I'm going, how am I going to finish this run? So I'm like just doing laps back and forth at the tram depot. And again, people are looking at me like, what's wrong with her? Why is she doing this? And it actually probably would have been quicker for me to just do more than 3.1 and just run back the tram route to the beach and meet my family. But at that point, it was kind of getting hot. And I was like, a tram ride kind of sounds nice. And so I waited for the tram, and it took much longer than it would have for me to run. But it was lovely. There was actually other runners. I was high-fiving people. We were having a great time. But I can see why they don't have it. I hope that they will figure out the best way to do it. I think it is a pretty run if they can make it workable for everybody. But I do understand why it's not a
And
thing
not get
officially.
attacked by crabs. That yeah.
Yeah, and the poor crabs. I kind of felt sorry for them. They're kind of cute.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then I got on the tram. I went to the beach area. Of course, I had to find a photopass photographer to get my medal picture, like a good Run Disney person would do. And
Love it.
then I put on a bathing suit and met my family, who was probably like, "Why? Why?" And the beach was lovely. It was calm. The water's beautiful. The facilities at Lookout are really nice because it's all new.
Yeah.
There's a water playground there that's really nice also. My kids really enjoyed that. Um, but we didn't stay as long as you probably most people probably did because we wanted to go back and hit the Frozen matinee. They had a 3 o'clock showing of Frozen. And because dinner had taken so long the night before, we weren't really sure that we were going to be able to make any of the evening performances. And just because my kids are still relatively small, it just kind of works out better to do the shows in the middle of the day. So we got some lunch. That is we had pre-ordered lunch before. So I just walked up to the counter where they handle the allergies. I said I'm ready, and within 10 minutes the food was ready. So that was a much more
Yep.
efficient
On
process.
the island.
Yeah.
Oh wow. So they were able to handle that on the island for you. That's amazing.
So at dinner the night before, I ordered the food for the island.
Wow. Okay. That's odd.
And that's then what I did every night. Every night they handed me an allergy menu and said, "What do you want for lunch tomorrow and dinner tomorrow?" And then they started asking me about breakfast, especially because of the churro waffles. They're like, "Do you want the Mickey churro waffles gluten free? We will make sure that we have them ready for you." So we had to get in the groove. We had to get in the system. There's systems. So
That's great
um,
though. It sounds like they really like figured that out for you because waiting, half an hour, 45 minutes for food isn't ideal. A, you're wasting a lot of time, and B, when I get hungry, I get not nice. So I mean, I'm being honest. So that's nice that they figured that out to make that process smoother for you. So that ordering the night before, having it ready, sounds like that was. I'm glad that they had some sort of system in place to make that smoother for you.
yes, and we weren't the only ones. Like there were people in that allergy line, so they obviously kind of do this a lot. It wasn't like we were the pain in the butt people where they're not used to having to deal with this. So it looks like a lot of people were doing the same thing. They were ordering the night before. They had it already. There was a specific window for the allergies on both islands
Great.
that
That's
you
good to
would go
know.
up to.
Okay.
So that worked out. My son got a virgin pina colada, and his life changed um, for the better because that's all he ever wanted for the rest of the time. That's all he kept dreaming about. So
That's
he
so
got one of
cute.
those. We stood in the line for Daisy, who was in her special lookout key costume because the shirts that we had made had the characters in their lookout key costumes on them. And my daughter had bows to match. So obviously, we needed to get documentation of this with a photo.
Love it.
So we did that. And then we headed back to the boat and got ready to see the Frozen show.
And how was the
Um,
show?
we liked it.
Good.
We thought it was good.
Good.
Um, yeah, I think that we liked it. Um, I've seen a lot of theater, so I can be a little bit of a theater snob. Like it's not the most incredible show I've ever seen, but it was good. It was really good.
Good.
Um, we enjoyed that. And then my daughter, because Zachary got the pina colada, my daughter started wanting Dole Whip. And so then it became this saga where we were trying to find Dole Whip, and nobody could really tell us where the Dole Whip was until finally we kept asking at like whatever time that night. They're like, "Oh, it's at the pool bar." like, it's at the pool bar. So at like 8:30 that night after dinner, we're going up to the pool bar. The pool bar is closed. And so yeah, it became a saga about the Dole Whip and trying to get the Dole Whip, and she never ended up getting the Dole Whip because it was always closed when we would try to go and get her Dole Whip.
I didn't even know there was
Um,
a Dole Whip on the ships. So
and there may not have been. There may not have been because we kept getting different answers from different people about the Dole Whip. So if you're looking for Dole Whip, if somebody could like let me know if you actually got the Dole Whip on the Disney Destiny, so we will know maybe for next time if we go again, because it was quite a saga. Um, but one of the most charming things that I think I experienced on this trip was when we left Lookout. Do you know what I'm going to say?
no.
So when I don't know why I was in the room by myself. I don't know why. I think maybe the kids went to the kids club for a little while, and my husband said I'm going to go get a snack because he can eat anything. So he's like, I'll go eat the things that I would never eat in front of my children because I don't want to make them feel bad because they can't eat it. So I think he went to do that, and I said, good, I'll take a shower and get ready to go to dinner. And it was silent in my room, and all of a sudden I hear something. I'm like, is that music? What is that? And then I'm like, I hear voices. What is that? And I'm like, the TV's not on. My phone doesn't work. Like, what is it? And so I walk over to the balcony, and all of a sudden, there's a line of like, I don't even know how many cast members on the dock with their Mickey hand, and they're all waving. And they're saying, thank you for coming. Have a good day. Like, they're all screaming at the boat. And they start playing the horn for the, I don't know, that when you wish upon a star, and I think they were playing other things, but they're making the horn sound. These guys are waving like they mean it, like they were actually happy that we showed up today. Like, they're not running away going, oh my gosh, they made such a mess and now we have to go clean it up. Like, they stood there and they waited. And then I'm on my balcony and I look from side to side and up and down, and there's all these people like me on their balcony also waving to these people. And I was like, I think this just made my trip. This was like the most special thing ever. Like, I don't think I've liked anything as much that I've done than this moment right now. And I was so sad that my kids weren't there and that I was alone because I didn't get to experience it with anybody. But I just thought it was the most heartwarming and charming thing. And I'm like, I bet your Royal Caribbean doesn't do this. Like, there's just no way that any other cruise ship is doing this. And quite frankly, they didn't have to do it. Like, I wouldn't have noticed. I would have never known. And I don't know if that's a tradition. I don't know. But it was just the most heartwarming thing
I love
to see. I loved it.
That's great. That makes me happy. That's those little things. It's like when you go to the parks and you're so excited about all the rides, but it's a little interaction with a cast member that completely makes your trip. And it's not, riding this ride the 900th time. It's something else. So but kind of special that you had that moment. I mean, I'm sorry the rest of your family didn't get to enjoy it, but kind of special you had it for yourself too. You
Yeah,
know?
it was really neat. It was just they didn't. That was absolutely unnecessary. They
Yeah.
didn't need to do that. Those people had work to do because that place is trashed when all the people get off the island and leave. They have a lot to do to turn that place over to get. I'm sure people are coming tomorrow.
Yeah.
And for them to just stand there and wait, and like they were out there, like even as you're pulling away, you can look back and they're still waving at you. It's like they wait till you're out of sight completely. I don't know. It was really, really nice.
That's cool. Okay. We got
Um,
we got to zoom up a little bit because
okay.
we talk about this forever and ever and ever. But
I
I
know,
do
right?
get some other highlights. So that night, where did you have dinner? So your second
We had
night dinner,
dinner at Marvel.
and how was that?
Um, I like Marvel. Some of the stuff I heard people don't seem to like it. My kids loved it. There was trivia with some special thing in the center. They can push buttons, and so it made that that experience of when they're not used to sitting in a restaurant for an hour go by quickly. Um, it was good. The only thing that was kind of a drawback is when we came out of that restaurant, they were doing the Cruella show, the fashion show, which is something I really wanted to do. And I hadn't realized that some of these experiences are only offered once.
Oh, I don't think I realized
And
that.
so that was kind of a disappointment. And as we went through the cruise, I did notice that as we were going, I was like, oh, there's multiple things I want to see at the same time. And if I don't go to this, this is my only chance. Um, Again, I can kind of understand why they would do it. They would pit two things against each other that are popular because they want to spread everything out. They don't want everybody coming to the same thing. But I guess when I was looking at the app initially, because you do see some things that are offered more than once, like different character experiences are offered more than once. And for the Cruella Deville show and the fashion show, not the troublemaking in the lounge. This is just a fashion show, which I bought special outfits for that we did not get to wear. So that's why I was sad about that. So that was only offered once, and the Maleficent experience was only offered once. And we saw Hercules instead, so I didn't get to see that either.
Mm.
So that was kind of tricky, and that could have been a new person thing. We just didn't exactly know how to structure our day necessarily, because we just didn't know, and there's so much to do, and I also didn't want to also be in the app all the time and looking at it. But anyways, that was kind of a bummer when we walked out of the Marvel restaurant and we're seeing the tail end of the Cruella thing, and then when we're looking at the app, not seeing it offered at all again.
Yeah,
So that was a bummer.
that was only offered once. That is a bummer. That's,
Yeah.
I would say, when you get, I guess for the future tips for anyone, when you get to the port, you can get on the Disney Cruise Line app and start hearting anything. And if it's something that's super, super important to me, so for example, I'm going on the Treasure this summer and I want to see the Indiana Jones something or another. I don't know. I'm going to actually set an actual alarm on my phone too, because that's like the one thing that I really, really want to experience. So I'm going to kind of look through the app, look for that heart it. So then I get the reminder, but also kind of go in but I wouldn't have expected that to only happen once. So that's
Once,
really a
yeah.
bummer.
The troublemaking experience where she has you make up a different song, that was offered more than once. Um, but that wasn't our focus. We wanted the fashion show experience with her. Um, so it is what it is. We kind of, at least we got to watch it a little bit. We caught the tail end of it, so we saw that. And then after that, there was lots of characters walking around. We met Tiana for a minute, and then we just, like I said, I've got little kids, so we were in bed fairly early. The old ladies wanted to go see Dr. Facilier, and so what was interesting is that they had no idea where it was, and there were several people who kept saying there is no such thing as the Disney studio, and there is. That's where he is. But like I said, I think there were new people and they were getting conflicting information about where it was, what it was. So at some point, my mom and my aunt got frustrated and went to bed. And my cousin, who loved the challenge, said, I've now I'm invested. So now I'm going to go and I'm going to go and do this. And so she did see it. She got picked to go up to the front. So he used her partially. But I guess there's one person that's like more of the main person. So she wasn't one of the main people, like the main person who I don't know, because I didn't see it. But she was up there, and he asked her a bunch of questions, and she had like kind of like a secondary part of that. So that was pretty cool. She said she's
That is
glad she
cool.
did it.
That's awesome.
So
I,
yeah,
I
that was that day.
I have heard that because so many new ships have come out, that they are hiring a lot of people and there's a lot of new staff. I listened to a couple of Destiny podcasts. I'm like you, I choose to listen ahead of time. If I've already experienced it, then I'll watch a video. But if it's something new to me, I like to just listen to podcasts about it. So I had heard that some of this, there is a lot of earning my ears and new people on board. So I'm sorry that they were misguided and didn't get to experience that.
That's okay. I mean, we weren't going to, just because it was late and I wasn't sure that it was appropriate for my children, but I don't know if they've changed it, because it used to have like a rating on it, like kids a certain age, and now it says all ages when you look in the app. So I don't know if they've
I think
changed
there's
it.
two different shows from what I understand. I think
Oh,
there's an
could
adult
be.
only one and a kid friendly one. From again, I
Okay.
my listening to I could be totally wrong on that, or maybe they did change it. Who knows? So
It could be. I don't know. But she enjoyed it. She said she did it. She said it was good. She had no idea who Dr. Facilier was, so she has no reference for it, but she was glad that she did it.
I'm glad.
Um, and then the next day was our castaway day. We did Marceline for breakfast. We did Marceline for breakfast every day. And then we had to book it because it was our royal gathering morning before we could get off the boat and go to Castaway. So my daughter had an exquisite dress, and my son had a very dapper Prince Charming shirt that he wore. And we wanted to be like first, so we were down there pretty quickly and wanted to get in line fairly quickly. So we did that. It was lovely. My daughter can be really shy, and sometimes the face character, she prefers the costume characters because costume characters don't talk. And so for her to have all face characters, um, and she did really, really good with talking to them. So it was, as a parent, it was really heartwarming. The characters were really, really good with my kids. They signed autographs. My daughter was dressed. Of course, they were spinning her around and, telling her how beautiful she looked and all of that. So it was really great. They did a good job. It's a good experience. I can understand why people get up in the middle of the night, although I think all of us who do that need to be part of a psychological experiment, because it's wild that all of us were up, as evidenced by the fact that I couldn't hardly even could get a time.
Hmm.
It's like, what's wrong with these people? But I
Yeah,
can see why, because it was a great thing.
yeah.
We went and we got our tea again and our smoothies from Megara's, and then we went to the island. We offered the 5K to my children to do. My kids have done quite a few
They
Disney
have.
World and Disneyland 5Ks, so they are familiar with what it takes. They said no. They wanted to go to the kids club on the island. So
Uh-huh.
we dropped them off at the kids club on the island, and then we went and we did the 5K. So all the old people went and did that. And then after that, we picked up my kids from the kids club, and then we ate at the it's Cookies. I think it's
Mhm.
Cookies 1 and 2.
Yep.
Cookies 1 is the allergy one. So if you need an allergy meal, you have to go to Cookies 1.
Okay.
So we went to Cookies 1. It was good. And then we went over to we had an appointment to feed the stingrays and swim with the stingrays. So that was neat. All
I
of us
love.
did it. My kids really enjoyed it. Um, the stingrays kind of like you better when you have the food. After that, they're not as interested in you. So as you're swimming, they kind of start swimming away from you.
I get it. I
But
get it.
it was a neat experience to have. I'm glad we did it. But the feeding part is far better than the swimming part. And then what did we do after that? Oh, we had to go back because we had to get ready for pirate night.
It's an
Yeah,
important
so
thing.
it's very important. So, and I was gross at that point. Like at that point, I had been submerged in salt water. So that requires hair washing and all of the things.
Yeah.
So we got back on the boat and got ready for pirate night. We went back to the Marvel restaurant. So we had two meals back to back in the same restaurant. I don't know if that's common because of Pirate Night or not. It was a different menu, and I had heard different things on podcasts about that they weren't changing it to the pirate menu. But on our sailing, we did have the pirate menu. But it seems like the allergy menu is different for anyway, so it didn't really matter for us, sort of. Um, and then we went to the pirate party outside on the deck. So, and that was really cute. All the characters come out. Captain Hook is there. Smee is there. We have drama, we have victory, and we have dancing. And I have some very cute video of my kids dancing around, in their pirate gear. And yeah, it was neat. We were all like, everybody in my family was dressed up for pirate night. We were on
Oh, I
point.
cannot wait to see pictures. You've not shared.
So then after the bubbles and the pirate you know, pirate party was kind of dying down, we went into the grand hall, and they were doing pictures at the stairs. So there's a photographer there on the lovely, really pretty staircase where you can get some family photos. So we got some photos from the professional photographer there, which was nice. And then we went to bed.
Oh, you didn't get to see the fireworks.
Oh, no, 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 not me and my kids. We're in bed. No, we were
Okay,
sleeping. The old ladies saw the fireworks. They did. They
good.
liked them. They saw them, but we did not. My kids go to bed at like 8:30, 9 o'clock. And
Yeah,
with all the swimming and all the stuff, like they are tired.
tired. Yeah, I get it. I get it.
And so the next day was our sea day and our last full day. So we did
I have a
Marceline
question.
Market again.
Have you been on the Aqua Mouse yet?
No, we didn't do it
At all?
at all.
Oh, okay.
One morning, I can't remember which morning now. I think was it the lookout morning? Yeah, one of the mornings before we went out to the island, we jumped in the pool and we were going to go on the water slide because everybody had already started to get off the ship, and we thought, "Oh, we'll wait. We'll get on we'll do the aqua duck. Is it the duck or the mouse? I think it's the duck on the Destiny." And then we'll get off because I think we were waiting on the other people in the party for whatever reason. And so we went in the pool, we watched The Little Mermaid. My kids got such a kick out of the fact that you could watch the TV while you're in the pool, and this was great. The slide wasn't open. They only ran the slide from like noon to 7.
Was it windy that day?
I don't think
Yeah,
so.
that's weird. I wonder why.
So it seemed like we kept attempting it and it was close every time we would try.
Hmm.
Um, and so we did not get on it. It's funny, for as much as we did, the headliner things you think we would have done, we didn't do.
There's you
Um,
think you have enough time to get all these things done. You
you
don't,
don't.
because like you said, there's conflicting things that you want to do at the same time, or like it just it's amazing to me, even after 7 night sailings, there's a list of things that you don't get done.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was, sadly, we did not do that. We were kind of disappointed. We had thought we would do it on the sea day, which is the day we're going to talk about. But my daughter wasn't feeling well.
Oh no.
So I think it was just motion sickness. But we got up for breakfast and she's like, I don't feel good. I don't want to eat. And we're like, what? You kind of need to eat. Like, what's going on? And then she got sick.
Oh my
So
God.
she had some sort of stomach something, whether it was motion sickness or she picked up something. I don't know. But that kind of threw our day into a little bit of a tailspin because then it's, okay, is she sick? Is she gonna contaminate other people? Is she just motion sick? Do we need like, what do we need to give her if it's motion sickness? Does she just need to rest? We couldn't, then it almost took us like a couple hours to get our head on straight as to what we were doing.
Hmm.
And so it ended up that my husband stayed with my daughter for a while in the room. And then my son and I went to do the Haunted Mansion happy hunt, whatever it is. Um, I have to say that that's another, probably one of the most memorable things from our trip. If you asked my son what his favorite part of the cruise was, he would tell you it was this. Um, it was a riot. He and I were running all over this ship like fools, doing this stuff where you wave your band and the ghost comes out, and then you have to run back to like the main terminal to like redeem your ghost, basically on the magic band. It was so much fun. We had the
I
best time.
I've heard great things about it, so I'm glad that you had fun doing it.
Yeah,
I've
I mean,
heard
it's such
really
a
good,
simple thing.
but sometimes that's again, that's what's the best.
Yep, it was totally simple. Didn't really mean anything, but we were having a great time. And at some point, a lot of it is near the stairs and near the elevators where you're finding these ghosts. All of a sudden, Pluto just walks down the stairs and hugs my son. We got a great picture. I didn't have to stand in line for it. Like we had a great time. We were laughing. So that was a lot of fun. And then by the time we got back to the room, my daughter was like, I'm good. Like we're okay. And we're like, are you sure? Like, and she just seemed like herself. So I don't know if it was motion. I don't know if she ate something funny. I don't think it was a virus because after that she was fine. Um, but she wanted to see Hercules. And so it was our priority to see the 1:30 show of Hercules. They actually offered that three different times that day on the C day. It was a 1:30, a 6 o'clock, and an 8:30. The 8:30 is just too late for us. The 6 o'clock conflicts with our dinner. And so it was 1:30 or nothing. And that's when the Maleficent show was, where you can see the show and then meet her, which I also had outfits for, but we did not do that. We did the Hercules show. My kids had outfits for Hercules. We got a really great seat. We were on off to the side, but we were basically in the front row. Um, we it was a really good show. Pegasus came down and gave my son a fist bump during the show. It was great. Apparently Hades, he was the standout for sure. And then my cousin had talked to someone the day before, and apparently he had just come from Broadway. So, and I was like, oh well, that's why he's the standout. He was great. And they were all great. They were all great. It was a really good show. I do know that there was supposed to be some sort of the Hydra was some sort of puppet or supposed to be some real practical effect, and I guess it wasn't working. It was like a screen, like when the shaman doesn't work in
Hmm.
the Navi River journey, it was that. And so that we were kind of disappointed, like, oh, we missed the thing that everybody says is like the highlight of the show. But at least they did the show. They had a backup. And it was good. And then after that, my son wanted to go to the kids club. So he went by himself. We didn't put my daughter in there in case she
Hmm.
wasn't feeling good. And then there was a showing of the Dr. Facilier thing. And so I said to my husband, I really want to see it. You go back with Cammie. She wants to rest. And then I met my cousin who had already seen it. And she's like, I'll wait with you. So we wait, and we wait, and we wait like a half an hour to make sure I could get in. And we get there. It's not the show, it's pictures only.
Oh,
So I waited a very long time for a photo op, and I have the photo to prove it. But it was
no.
one of those things where they don't, in the app, I guess there is a way for them to delineate it, but it's not super clear. It's either Dr. Facilier or Dr. Facilier's parlor. And so,
Oh,
unless you're really paying attention, you're not going to necessarily notice the difference. So, Dr. Facilier's parlor is the special show.
oh.
Dr. Facilier is just a meet and greet with a photo, everybody.
Hmm.
So it is what it is, but it's a funny story. And then we went to the Lion King restaurant that night.
Oh yeah, how was that?
I enjoyed that. I liked that there was a show. I maybe had the worst seat in the house, but um,
I have yet
like
to
I was
hear of anyone anywhere who says I have a good seat for that show. So I'm not sure there is a good seat because
Well, I
every
was like literally I could have gotten a job. Like if I had if I had just gone like this with my hand, I would have been in the kitchen. So
that's been a
like I
huge
was in the
complaint
kitchen.
is that they made the dining spaces just too small on the wish class ships, that they're just too crammed. There's too many tables. There's too, I don't understand why they did that, but
Yeah.
they
I
didn't
was
ask me.
worried that if I backed out, like if I scooted out, I was going to trip a server. Like it was there, they come out quick. Um, but so the only drawback for me was sort of the noise from the kitchen battling the sound for the performers. Other than that, you're right. I don't know that there is a good seat in that restaurant, and I don't think there necessarily needs to be because it's not a show per se where you need to be paying attention the whole time. I feel like it's more just like to create ambiance. I mean, if you can watch it, great, but that I don't think that's the point. The point is just to really listen to the music and I didn't care that it wasn't facing the stage per se. It was just hard to have so much noise from the kitchen fighting the music that you're supposed to be enjoying. But I don't think you need to see it. You don't need to face the stage to do it. Um, but yeah, that was it was good. And then we had to pack after
I
that. We went back to the room and we packed.
That's the saddest.
Yep. So we packed and had our room, our luggage right outside our room, and they came and they picked it up and do whatever it is they do with it. That seems like a magical experience if you ask me. Um, I don't know how they get all that luggage to where it needs to go. I don't even know where they hold it.
I, I
I
don't want
don't
to
know.
know.
And then we went back to the Lion King restaurant for breakfast in the morning. Um, and then it was time to say goodbye. We waited for our Tinkerbell, or what they give you some sort of character on your luggage tag, and you wait for the character that's on your luggage tag to be called. And that was it. Back to reality.
Okay, so if you had to scale this from 1 to 10, how would you rate this experience?
That's a good question because there were so many things that were really great, and then the things that weren't great were kind of disappointing. Like when you think you're gonna see X, Y, and Z, and like you can't. Like the scheduling was very challenging. Um, I would probably say, and I'm tough. I'm a tough critic,
I
so
know you are. I know.
I would say probably like a 7.5.
Okay. Do you think the ladies enjoyed it?
I do. I think that
Okay.
they liked it. Yep.
Okay. That's a different thing. Like
Everybody liked it.
they didn't have they were with your kids, but they were also in their own staterooms with their own stuff. So they were having meals with you all, but they had different experiences than your
They
family
did,
did.
and my mom went to the spa and got a massage, and she enjoyed that. She loved the like the I guess there's like a steam and a cool plunge and stuff like that, and she loved that. My
Good.
mom owns a spa, so she's a tough critic. Like
Oh,
she would know whether or not the service was good.
yeah. I wouldn't want to be having her as one of my clients. I'd be like,
Yeah,
no, you take her. She owns a spa.
yep, yep. She would. She knows what to look for. So
what,
for her to say that she had a good service is something. Like that's not a
what tips
that's
would
not
you
for
give to
nothing.
other people who are considering going on a Disney cruise? If someone has not been on a Disney cruise line before, what would you say to them?
So for first time people, I would tell you make sure you bring a water bottle. We didn't talk about that, but the water was kind of hard to come by. Bring a water bottle. Trust me, bring a water bottle. You're going to want it if you want to drink water. And then I didn't understand that you could look at multiple days on the app at the activities. I thought you could only see the one day because that's all I ever saw was the one day. Apparently, there is a way for you to look at multiple days. So like you said, Jody, I would look at all of the days on the first day and heart the things that you definitely want to see and then plan around those things because I didn't realize it was going to be offered once, and had I known I maybe would have done things a little bit differently.
Yeah.
And then the only other thing I can say is like on the next cruise, I don't know that I would do all of the sit down meals. I don't know that that's necessarily necessary for us. Um, you know, for us, we don't care to dine for a really long time. And I would have rather seen the Cruella show. I would have traded the dinner for the show because the food is fine, but it's not like you're getting this 5-star meal that's the most it's not going to be the most amazing meal you've ever had. Like you can get a dining experience that's better at home, if you really wanted to, where you're not going to necessarily get these other experiences at home. So I would probably, for my family, because we don't care about food, like I would probably put less emphasis on the dining and more on making sure if you want to see this stuff, you've got to know when it is and you've got to plan it. And I didn't realize that. And then definitely get WhatsApp if you have multiple people and you want to text them,
Yeah.
or buy the
And
internet package. But hey,
that's
I didn't need
hard.
it.
That's hard to explain how to use the app because you can't show anyone ahead of time. Like,
Right,
so you can't be like, hey, here's how you navigate through each day of the app because there's um until you're there because it doesn't work until you're there. So
right,
that's
yeah,
one of those things. Like, with the My Disney Experience app, you could, like, if you're talking to your friend, you could be like, oh, click here, do this,
Yes. Yes.
so that's a really good thing to think through. Like, I'm sure there's a video out there of somebody who's recorded, like, here's how you go through the Disney Cruise Line Navigator app and look at all your days. Like, that would
And I
be,
still couldn't tell you. Like I still wouldn't know how to tell somebody how to go to different days. I still don't know how to do it, but it is possible.
yeah.
Um,
And the water bottle thing, yeah, yeah, that's huge. We never leave home without water bottles though, because we're psychotic. So, but again, we're flying, so we always have a water bottle with us because it's in our backpack and our bags where you're coming from home. So a little bit of a different situation. So, all right. Well, do you think you'll ever cruise Disney Cruise Line again?
well, we booked the placeholder, so it's probably it's likely that we're gonna try it again. I think there is a learning curve with a lot of this stuff too. I would do things differently, and I would probably have an even better experience because I've done it once. I can't promise that we're gonna take advantage of that. I think a lot of things come into play, but I think if we're gonna do it, we'd really like to take a look at Alaska. For us, the beach and the islands are beautiful, but I live in Florida. Like I could run to the beach from my house if I wanted to. I can
Mhm.
go anytime I want. So even though yes, it's beautiful and the water is more beautiful there than it is at my house, I can see and do a lot of those things that are offered at home. So I would want to maybe get the itinerary might be a little bit more important to me for another cruise, as to where we would be going. I would want to try to do something that's maybe not so beachy just because I have the
You-
luxury of doing that at home.
Well, Alaska's amazing, so it's definitely an experience. And listen, your outfits would be, I can't even imagine. Would be phenomenal. So, all right. Any other tips you want to share with anyone, or any other last minute thoughts before we?
No, I guess the only other thing is I ran into this with my first Walt Disney World trip with my kids, is like manage your expectations because your kid might get sick. Your kids are going to be tired. It's not going to be the perfect trip. And if you measure it on like, oh, I didn't get this and this and this done, then you kind of wind up disappointed. But the truth is, like that happy haunt thing, like was my son's favorite thing, and he and I did it together, and we're going to remember that. And if that's all we got out of it, like that's totally worth it. So just kind of manage your expectations. Know you're not going to get everything done, and just kind of roll with it. But we did. We all had a lot of fun. It was a lot of good family time. It's memories I'll never forget. It's a multi-generational trip. So that's really special too, because at some point those ladies won't be around anymore, and I will be glad and very grateful that we had this time together.
Yeah, that is very true. So, well, thank you for sharing your trip with us. It sounded like it was a blast. I have yet to sail the Destiny. It's on my list, but man, my list keeps getting longer and longer. That's the problem. So,
Yeah.
all right.
Thank you for
So,
having me.
thanks for telling us all about it. You gave some really great information, especially with the allergy stuff. So, the gentleman would be upset if we didn't finish up this part of the show. So, I guess we better do it. Quacking up with the ducks. So, Crystal, do you have a joke for me?
Okay, I think trust me, I don't know if that I'm gonna nail this, but okay, so a duck walks into a gas station and says to the attendant, got any grapes? He says, no, I don't have any grapes. I got like honey buns. I don't have any grapes. He says, okay. And he leaves. So next day, the duck walks into the convenience store and says to the guy, hey, you got any grapes? He's like, no, man, I told you. I don't have any grapes. I have Twinkies and honey buns and Mountain Dew. I don't have grapes. Okay, so he walks out. Duck comes back the next day and goes, hey, you got any grapes? He's like, no. What do I have? Like, how am I going to get through to you? No, I don't have any grapes. And he's like, okay. So he walks out. The next day he comes in and he asks, you have any grapes? And he's like, no. And if you ask me again, I'm going to nail your feet to the floor. So the doc walks out. The next day, the duck walks in and goes, hey, got any nails? It made you laugh.
Oh, that was a good one. Okay, mine's not nearly as good because mine never are, but here we go. Crystal, do you know why fish can't learn the alphabet?
No. Why can't fish learn the alphabet?
Because they get stuck at sea. Get it? The
Ah, I got it. Good
line goes.
one.
Dun, dun, dun. All right. Well, thank you so much for sharing your trip with us, telling us all about it. I think there's always something to learn from trip reports, and there's a lot of things that you brought up that I'm like, oh, that's a good point. That's a good point. So, and I've sailed 7 times, and there's always something to learn. And I'm glad your family had a great time. I'm glad that the ladies had a good time. Um, I cannot wait to see the pictures. So I hope after this you start spamming my phone with some photos because I'm dying to see everything.
I might have to ask for your help. I can't really figure out how to download them.
Oh,
The ones
okay.
that the photographer took.
Yep, that is tricky. I will explain how to do that. Yeah, that's that that is, and there's a certain window of when you can do it too. So I will be glad to send you information on how to do that because I think I've struggled with that myself before too. So
Super.
thank you again for joining
All
us.
right.
It was so fun to hear about your trip, and I can't wait to see you at a Run Disney race.
My pleasure. See you soon.
All right, thank you.
Bye.
Bye. The boys, that's their area of expertise. I just make them up as I go along.